guys, you were looking at a lock coffin. This is from Harley up in Canada, and at first I thought this was purely cosmetic, just to decorate a container that he kept maybe some challenge locks in. And as soon as you flip it, you realize that no, it's a real lock. He's got this thing rigged up so that I actually have to pick that. Big clue should have been the key. I got a little tag there, coffin lock, pinned by WCP. And we got the key, beautiful key. It's all, see, it's not actually stippling. Those are dimples on there from the old sergeant from New Haven, Connecticut. Very artistic. At least one side of the key looks really cool. It is mummied, but mummy goes with a coffin. I guess it makes sense. Let's see if we can pick this thing. And I'm going to have to do it on the bench. It's pretty big and it's pretty heavy. It just won't go into the vise. On the top of the keyway, it'll work. Got a little flopping going on, and it's pretty wide open keyway, so I'm going to try a 23 thousandths. This is by RevTat, so we'll see if we can get inside of this thing. Wow. Okay, I say wow. Probably should explain that. These pins are very light. I'm trying to count them, but the tension is probably like half springs in there. And that, of course, is designed to take away the feel. I'm even going to try to, let me try to tension this thing and then count the pins. I believe there are 5, but there's 2 of them that are still springy. But I'm pretty sure there's 5 in here. Let's give it a shot. We'll say there's 5 and then we'll just pick them all. How about that? All right, let me zoom in so you can see what's going on. Maybe a little too much zoom there. How about that? There we go. All right, I'm going to pick it. I'm going to go ahead and pick it counterclockwise, all the way in. Very, very light tension because light springs indicate to me there's some bad juju in there. All right, light tension. Move up the stack, find a binder. Feels like the very first one. I might have too much tension on it. Lighten up a little bit. That was what I believe is pin 5. Got a click. That was pin 4 he was binding. That was pin 2. A little click on him. That's pin 1. There's pin 2 again, a little counter rotation on him this time. Try not to overdo it here. There we go. He's must be a very sharp edge on him. There's pin 3. Little touch, he got a little turn. So far everything feels like it's probably serrated. I'm on pin 5. Little counter rotation there. Let me position the pick a little better. Yeah, I think we got it. Pin 3, another click. He apparently had fallen back down. Oh, there we go. Pin 3 again. Another click on him. Pin 2 got a very slight turn on that core. This is a good thing. Pin 1 getting some counter rotation, but I thought we already picked him. Pick him again. Pick him till he quits. Okay, that was pin 4. I do have some pretty good fault set going. And I'm getting some counter rotation on 3 again. And I think I got 2 clicks. We might have overdone it. Notice I say we, and that's because I'm blaming half of this on you. Which also, oh, we got a good fault set, which means you get to take half of the credit as well. Okay, I got a really good fault set, but I'm looking for feedback now. I get nothing. Probably a T-pin in there somewhere. As deep as that fault set is. I'll be darned if I can find him. Okay, I got to click on 5, and there's 4. We got to open. Let's see if this coffin works. Let me zoom this thing out. So turn him all the way, undo our little buckle, and there we go. It does work. Isn't that cool? All right, we got Am I zoomed all the way out? Okay, looks like we got some, let me put these picks out of the way. Some street sweeper bristles, perhaps. Nice and thick. Make some good tension wrenches out of those, or maybe even some picks if we go to the grinder. We got, thank goodness we got keys. Never seen it before, a Tamor. Probably a challenge lock. We have to get to that. It's 5-pinner. And we have, it's like Christmas, a no-namer. This probably is a 6-pinner, judging from the length of that. So why don't I, since he's got the keys here, that's probably the arrow, since it's the longest one. No. That ought to be fun. There we go. All right, this, well, it opened. It's a little sticky, but it's a Schlag pinned, and it's only a 5-pinner, looks like. All right, so we ought to have a little fun with that one. See if we can find that Tamor. See if he is actually the arrow. No. Nope. Quick set, maybe? Oh, there we go. Very stiff. Probably got some strong springs in that. Okay. Got a Schlag with a very strong spring in the back of there. And last but not least, there we go. That is the arrow. So we got some pretty good challenges. All of these are very strong springs, unlike the one that we just picked. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, we got another one here. What is this? Oh, it's a pick handle. Isn't that cool? Harley also made these for us a while back, and he told me that he's working on the latest version. This is version, I think he told me like version 6. But anyway, this one, that's pretty nice. I got to say, nice. This is he had thick material in there before. This is much thinner. Very nice. Very firm. It locks itself in place. 3D printed, and he's got a little tension wrench in the bottom of there. Pretty cool. I'll have to play with that later, and maybe we can pick one of these locks with it later on. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and lock this guy back up. Let's take a look at the key. Man, that's nasty stuff. Don't break the coffin, Bill. I might need it. Whoa. That is awesome bitting. All right, I'm thinking 5 pins, just like we thought. Darn it, I picked it and turned it upside down. Let's turn them right side up. So we're going to push the pins in the Bible back, push them up in place, and then hopefully rotate the lock. And I think the T-pins are probably what's causing our problem here. Let me find a thicker pick. Come on. It's got to be a T-pin in there, guys. And I don't see him down the face of the lock here. Let's try to rotate it the other way. Well, we got a fault set on the reverse. There we go. All right. Now we got it locked. Now let's try that key. Key works beautifully. Let's flip it over. Let's lock it back. Take those screws out. Trying to do this upside down. Use the coffin for my pinning tray. This lock has been around the block. Okay. This is probably the one we want. Like so. Ooh, I've already screwed it up. Darn it. When I turned it upside down, that T-pin fell back into the key slot. There he is, right on the very back there. He must have been writing on the very tip of the key, you can see that or not. A very sharp pin, probably not good for production locks. I'm going to turn it slightly sideways, and of course he popped right back down there before I could get... Alright, now that we know he's there, turn him a little bit sideways, slide this dude in there, and try not to dump all the pins. Alright, we're just going to leave that like that. Let me get a pinning tray and go to town on this one. Get rid of that. Pin 1 has a T-pin on the top of him. It was 5, by the way. Pin 2 is serrated. Pin 3 is serrated, but he doesn't want to come out. A little bitty short guy. And 4 did not want to come out of there. He's also serrated. And the last one, also got a spool with serrations on him. This is what it looks like. It looks like we have only 2 of them. Pin 3, pin 4, threaded. And that makes sense. It's these 2 little short serrated guys. Alright, this next part might be just a little bit of fun. I'm going to have to turn the... There we go. I have to hold the whole coffin up. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, we have a serrated with a spool on the end. He was in like that. Next one. A very sharp spool. Pin 3. A nasty, nasty looking T-pin. That's probably one of the guys that got caught in a shear line and locked our cylinder, our core upside down, wouldn't let us go back. And there's another one. Come out of there, you little devil. Another one of these T-pins. And he was in there like that. And last, we know he's a very sharp little devil. And there he is, and very nasty. Alright, let me set him down. Let's take a look at the core, at the Bible rather. Pin, or springs. I probably should take a little bit of time on these because they were so nasty. I'm going to slide that follower in from the back. And we're just going to dump these guys out one at a time. Maybe. You know, that's not too bad. He's a regular spring. And I can't see him in there. He's not coming out. He also is not coming out. I'm just going to bang it all and dump them all out. Guys, there are no springs in here. There must be springs in there. There he is. He's stuck in the bottom. Alright, we got a different spring, different style spring, and he was actually locked in the bottom. I don't know why that would be, otherwise... the other ones must be very small. Maybe when he put... No, the top. I can't tell. I don't think that top came off of there. Oops. I don't think that top came off of there. So the springs, for some reason, are very, very short, and I can't get them out of there. But anyway, unimportant. Enough messing around. What in the world? Holy Christ. This is interesting. You're going to love this. Let me see if any of the other ones are like that. No? Yes, he is a 2-part pin. And he's a 1-parter. Isn't this a piece of work? Let me get this perfectly vertical so you guys can make this out. First of all, let's look at the bottom pins first. We had a T-pin. All of the bottom ones were serrated in some way, and these 2 were serrated chambers. On the top, we had serrated. We had a regular sharp spool. This is actually a 2-part pin. He goes right inside of him, and you can see that there's a hole right down the side of there. Beautiful work. Same with this guy. I didn't even notice it until that first one fell apart. Again, we got the hole, and we got the 2-part pin. Get over there where you belong. And lastly, this is the one that's hanging up the cylinder on us. A little bit too sharp because we couldn't get him with either the pick when we're trying to hold that cylinder to to rotate it. And I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, beautiful work. Hey, there's another one. What do you know? They are all at different springs. There you go, Harley. I appreciate it. I appreciate the... It's a little bit awkward trying to pick it in a coffin. I never picked a lock in a coffin. Didn't figure any reason to lock people out or to lock people in. But I guess up in Canada, you guys got that problem. But anyway, we got a bunch of locks to pick in the future. Harley, thank you, sir, for the lock. Appreciate it. Everybody else, stay safe, stay legal, and thanks for your patience on this one.